Hello and welcome to Willow Talk. Adam Peacock here with you today with Brad Haddin and Hads. Today, it's all about the IPL. Now, you're heading over there once again, or by the time people listen to this, you are over there in the lead up to this magnificent competition, which just gets bigger and bigger. The TV rights get bigger. The competition gets bigger. It's an extraordinary thing, isn't it?
So basically all we're here to talk about is who plays Punjab in the final.
That's where you're going. That's your team.
What are you laughing about?
Yeah, it's just that the success for Punjab hasn't exactly been flowing. Let me say that.
Well, it's getting closer.
The history of the IPL, yeah. Yourself and Trevor Bayliss there, the coaching team.
So we'll decide today who plays us in the final.
Now, before we get into everything IPL, and it's not just a preview, this player's going to do that and this team's not going to do that. It's a bit behind the scenes as well. It's like a guide to the IPL, the stuff that we don't see all the time. Before we get into it, though, thanks to everyone who has rated and reviewed Willow Talk. Keep them coming. If you haven't, stop what you're doing right now and follow or subscribe if you could, please. And follow us on TikTok and Instagram by searching Willow Talk Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as well. All the links in the episode notes. And don't forget, go back to last week, Ask Hads. That was a ripping episode 7 days ago. So, go into the archive.
Yeah, that was great fun.
Now, the IPL, this year we're back again. It's starting soon, March 22, the first game. And oddly enough, they've only done the first 21 games of the schedule because there's the Indian election to take into account. Imagine trying to organise an Indian election. Imagine the complexity involving that. So big is it, and with the logistics that go in, IPL organisers have gone, well, we'll only do the first 21 games. Is that difficult for planning or anything like that, or you just take it as it comes over there?
Well, you just take it as it comes. You can make a big deal about it, but where's that going to get you? The one thing you've got to do, you've got to start your IPL campaign really well, and teams know where their first 4 games are at. And if you start to worry too much about the outcome and what's going to happen, if you're 0-4 after that, it actually doesn't matter where the games are.
Exactly.
It's just part and parcel of touring the subcontinent. It's not the first time it's happened. It's not new to the franchises or the players. And the players are pretty good about it, actually. They don't worry too much. Do you go into do you play the rest of a tournament in Mumbai? Bangalore, do you have different hubs? So there's no point speculating. But as I said, players are a little bit more relaxed with this stuff when it comes to the IPL.
Yeah, I was going to ask that as a first up question. So international cricket, pressure on. You want to perform for your country, yourself, and make family proud and all that. IPL is down a different path because, first and foremost, it's an entertainment product and they do it so well. And you look at how well they've done with TV rights, and I think per game it is the most expensive sporting competition in the world, or at least on par with NFL and English Premier League football in terms of TV rights alone. So you've got other revenue coming in with sponsorship and big-time owners as well. So how do players approach it in the sense that, yes, it's an entertainment product, but there's those other factors of pressure that are not similar to international cricket?
Well, it is an entertainment product, and the beast is only getting bigger and bigger. And you heard from a few episodes back from Matthew Hayden has been involved from day one to now. So the demands are getting higher, the viewership's only going one way. But what it still is an opportunity for players to play against the best talent in the world under different conditions. There's different pressures with franchise-based. There's a lot of rivalry that comes with that. But don't kid yourself. The players there are to give 100%, and they want to win. They want to win an IPL competition. One, it can change lives. We've seen that with some auctions. Guys come from nowhere and become millionaires and household names overnight. So the tournament can be life-changing for people as well. So, you look at Mitchell Starc. He's going over there for the first time in some time on 4 million. So there's a different pressure there. But the one pressure that everyone has, that they want to win an IPL.
What's the biggest rivalry between teams? Is there like a traditional rivalry? Obviously,
Mumbai against everyone.
Mumbai against everyone.
Well, they've been the most successful franchise.
Yeah.
That they have for some time. So
along with Chennai.
Well, and Chennai as well. They're the two marquee marquee teams that you got your big players there with Rohit Sharma, MS Dhoni, who's going around again, which is great for the tournament. I remember last year, and I remember sitting next to one of our assistant coaches, and I thought, I actually just want MS Dhoni to come out and bat. He goes, what are you talking? I
You're
said,
playing against
I
them.
want to see the crowd reaction.
Yeah.
And because at that time, it was one of the last games that Chennai were playing at their home ground.
And they weren't sure if he was coming back.
100%. And when he came out, it was amazing. Now I said, we just need a six. Like we won that game, but we just needed. And when he hit a six, made the crowd, and it was all Dhoni. 95% of the crowd had Dhoni shirts on, and the energy that stadium gathered. It's hard to explain. The closest way I can explain what it's like is when India and Pakistan played each other in the World Cup 2020 here at the MCG.
Yeah.
And the energy that crowd generated, times that by 10 in India.
Incredible. What's it done for player relations as well? Like 1980s, you got a guy from India or Pakistan, or not Pakistan in the IPL, but you got a guy from India or England or whatever like that. You get him out, you beauty, on your way, bastard, blah, blah, give him a send-off, this, that, and the other. Now, like, depending on who you lob with has it changed things?
I think it has. And I think it's for the better as well. You just have to look at international cricket now. These guys aren't foreign to each other anymore. A lot of the guys, like you look at our team, for example, you got Nathan Ellis playing against Rabada. You got Johnny Bairstow there, Livingston. And you see them on a personal level. And 99% of the time you go, man, they're great people. And that's what I think the IPL also has done. He's allowed players to mingle in a more or a different environment. It can be relaxed for some to get to know each other on a personal level. Then when they come up against each other, they think, oh, well, he's actually a nice person. So the IPL has built a lot of relationships. Like one of the most extraordinary ones is the two best of mates are Kane Williamson and David Warner.
Really?
Mate, they are as thick as fees.
The two most diametrically opposed personalities on face
they
value.
Work, mate. They're great to have around when they're together, and that's what it's done. It allows players to build relationships with people from all over the world.
How does it go? Because you're on a coaching staff, have been for a very long time. How does it go across the league with language barriers and cultural, I'd say, differences? And when I mean cultural differences is the demeanour of people. Like certain people naturally, outward. Some of them keep to themselves, bit quiet, unsure of themselves, especially around big names. How does that go for the team dynamic?
Well, I think the one thing, what I've noticed is everyone's acceptive of the different cultures. And I think that's the one real positive to come out of the IPL. You get to know each other on a personal level. And you also get to understand some of the struggles other countries have with international cricket. The demand that 2020 and the pressure that 2020's put on other countries. We're lucky in Australia, England and India that we'll always have Test cricket. It's all like there. But if you look at like New Zealand, for example, they don't get paid like the Australian players or the English. So they've got to have the window for IPL. So that it can be life-changing. So everyone's really acceptive of different cultures, but what they are also, and what I'm most proud of, and I've seen the Aussies do it as well, is they're open-minded. They're open-minded to try different things, get involved in different cultures, and that's one of the things with the IPL. You've got to go over and embrace everything that goes with the country.
How involved are the owners? Because we're talking some big fish in the world of business here, like multi-billionaires. Some of them. Are they hands-on, or have they got obviously they're very successful, so they've got operationally people to look after various parts of their lives. Are they, kind of kept at arm's length, or not kept at arm's length? They stay out of it?
Well, first and foremost, the owners of are extremely passionate about the game. But the other thing they're most passionate about, I think, are the younger Indian players coming through and creating a new path for them. That's what I found with a lot of the owners there. they're really excited about changing people's lives. As you've seen many different stories of young kids coming in and having their life changed in an auction. So they're very proud of that sort of thing.
Have you got with Punjab Kings? Have you got any guys that you've come across, or the various other jobs that you've had in the IPL, where you've sat down and listened to an Indian player's story and gone, my goodness, like there's the story of, for instance, Mohammad Siraj. He came out of nothing, like a village, and now look at him. He'd be well remunerated, and I dare say has looked after his family for life. But have you come across stories like that, and it widens your eyes?
Well, the interesting one that I've seen at Punjab is Jitesh Sharma.
Mm-hmm.
He's a wicket keeper. He'd been around for some time, and mate, his work ethic around the game and his passion for the game were extraordinary. He didn't quite understand. He trained for a long time, but didn't understand how to train to get better, and so to educate them on getting their work ethic and their quality of work to mirror up. And we had some really big steps with him last year. He dominated some back end of the games with the power. He had batting similar to a role MS Stoney. His gloves got better and better, and eventually got the opportunity to play for India. I think he's on contract now in a lower grade, but he's been recognised there. He's toured with India, so. What that brings not only to them, but in a cricket mad country to their family and everything like that. So there's great stories like that. Prabh Singh was another one. He was in and out of IPL teams, and we said, no, we want you to open. We understand you've got a rare talent to the way you take the game on, and you can start straight away. He got an unbelievable 100 against Rajasthan. Same thing. He went on an Indian A tour off the back of his success there. So, yeah, if they do well in IPL, some of the younger players, they get the opportunity to live out their dream, because playing under pressure against the quality of international players that are there, they do well. That gets recognised, and sometimes they can get the opportunity off the back of that to play for India.
Yeah, it changes their lives with all the dollars that are involved as well. Okay, the playing of the games, like the actual cricket itself. Firstly, venues. Do game plans change venue to venue? A lot of small grounds in India, obviously, but you find that when you go to a certain place, you have to play a certain style.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things, and what IPL teams do as good as anyone, the analytics teams. It's not just one guy now on the computer saying, "Oh, hit the top of off." It's about doing their research. If you do go to Bangalore or Mumbai's home ground, there's different conditions, there's different matchups there. You've got to take into consideration.
What's one that jumps out at you that's a pretty easy one to explain?
Well, the example, if you're playing at Chinnaswamy Stadium with RCB, mate, that's a really flat surface, high scoring ground. The ball changes everywhere, so you might go into that game. You've got to find a way to get wickets, and that might be looking at analytics on players. Do you go in with an extra quick, or how do you get wickets on that venue compared to if you go and play against CSK? They got a turning wicket. What matches up there? You might have three spinners there, one in the other. So a lot of the analytics around matchups are huge in the IPL.
What's the venue that jumps the most? Like you walk in there, it's just a wall of noise.
Oh, Mumbai and CSK.
Yeah, those two.
It's different, and it's not only different at the ground; it's different getting to the ground.
Yeah,
that's the one of the most extraordinary things. Mate, the streets are lined up for Ks. Like when you're coming into the ground, the passion. If you're at our home ground, is just to see a red. You'll have Rajasthan. You got the sea of pink with their pink jerseys. It's just the passion of no matter what your stand in society is.
So even with you guys, you got two home grounds. This year you got Mohali and Mullanpur.
We've got the new one. We haven't tried yet. Actually, we haven't even played on the surface, so we need to get there in the next couple of days, and I hope so, and find out what best matchup. But yeah, it's the energy around the hotel. The morning of the game.
So even a place like, for instance, Delhi, who don't host their first two games in Delhi, they're freaking half a country away in Vizag.
Yep.
So they'll just be frothing in Vizag for a team called the Delhi Capitals playing in their home ground. Then they'll be all Delhi fans.
You got to understand the enormity that the Indian players have on society over there. They're gods. The way MS Dhoni's seen, the way Virat Kohli's seen, to get the opportunity just to see their players and even more so get the opportunity to go and watch a game. So it's just a different level. The energy around the place is infectious. It's hard not to love it. And the other thing about it, it's the best cricket in this form of the game.
Okay. What about a thing like the dew, the factor? That was a big factor in the World Cup final. It's made Paddy Cummins bowl first up there in Ahmedabad. Is it a big factor in the IPL?
It is a factor at different venues. And you might send a staff member down the night before the game just to mark at different times. If the dew had come in, you talk to the groundsman. Everyone will say there's no dew on this ground, and you come there the next day and mate, it looks like a hose has been on it. But yeah, that's a factor. That's all part of the tactics. You got to remember there's no stone unturned when you come in to try to get an advantage, and the dew's one of those. You send staff members there, as I said, to have a look at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. When does the dew come in? What did it look like at the start of the game? You got a day game here. Dew's not a factor. The wicket plays different in the day than it does to the night. So they're all the things that the coaches have to look at before making team selections and getting your game plan right for that venue.
Tactical timeouts at the 10 over stage, has that made a difference? Not really.
Not really. You've done all your planning. Your captains are pretty clear on what they want to do. There might be a little thing you can pick up, but very rarely it's anything life changing.
Do you have to sit in the dugout?
No, you don't.
It's not a rule.
No,
you can sit up in the dressing room.
Yeah, that varies. That sometimes you like to, depending on the ground what you got available. You might sit in the change room where you can see the ground and you've got a screen in front of you.
Yeah.
Where you got your iPad as well, so you can quickly replay if you see different things that might help you in one of those timeouts. So the dugout sometimes can be an interesting place. It can be the one thing you've got to try in IPL is to keep things with an even tempo. You can get really reactive in there with the emotion that's going on. You get caught up in the crowd. You're trying to get the arousal levels of your batter next in nice and even. If they're one of those batters that just need to sit there, concentrate on his job, they don't want to be going the up and down arousal levels because all of a sudden, by the time they get out there, they're 30 off 15 balls and they're spent.
14 games over 2 months, and that's not including any kind of finals or anything. That's a lot of team meetings. That's a lot of
travel.
A lot of travel as well. Have you got to be really careful not to overdo it?
Big time.
With your players, don't fry their brains?
Well, the big thing I find with IPL is one, travel. Like one of the biggest things is recovery. The Indian players got an unbelievable work ethic. And you've got squads of 25 people. So
a lot of people to keep happy who aren't playing.
100%. But you might have a squad that's have 13 players that have played majority of the first 8 games. But you got to make sure that they're replacement players. If you're coming up to a venue that, okay, this venue's going to turn more if we make the semis, so we might need an extra spinner. By the way, our spinner hasn't played for 6 weeks. And you got to make sure you're giving everyone the right amount of training, that you're not overcooking them. You're not undercooking them, so that when they do get their chance, they're second-guessing everything they've done because they haven't done enough. So a lot of planning goes into, yes, year 11, but all your other backroom staff and your assistants and that are making sure that the others are prepared, ready to go if an injury happens. That also might be pulling them away from training.
Yeah,
you've overtrained. Today your session might be about recovery. Go, have a swim, get to the gym, clear your head because of travel days and things. So there's a lot that goes into planning your squad and making sure they're right at the right time.
I mentioned earlier about TV rights with Premier League and NFL. They fly privately. in those competitions because you can because of the money. You got charter flights.
Yeah, a lot
available
of
to you
our
guys?
from where we are in Mahali is normally 2 flights to get to places.
Mm.
So one of the things we changed last year is because you have such a big group you're traveling with your media, your digital teams,
You
and
still haven't given me a gig, by the way.
mate,
Thanks for
they're asking for you actually. That was one of the questions on Ask Hads last week. But so a lot of our flights were chartered,
Yeah.
just to take that second element, to get off the flight, change flights, and go again. So yeah, a lot of your flights were chartered.
Yeah. And no planes with propellers. That's the key.
All safe.
You're not a great flyer, are you?
No, I am.
You are
I
now.
just sleep.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm the best. If you want to chat,
Yeah.
I'm no good because
Fair enough.
I'm asleep before the plane takes off.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned gym and swim and stuff like that. I dare say golf clubs. You guys, and we touched on it last year when you were actually over there. You can't actually just go and walk the streets, especially the more notable Indian players.
Yeah.
And probably some of the Aussies and
Yeah.
well-known English players as well. It's not like they can just go, spare 2 hours, you know, go for a walk around the block. They get
Yeah.
mobbed.
No, not always, and that's why it's important to have activities arranged. You got a lot of golfers in your group, and you need to find avenues to get them away from the hustle and bustle. They need downtime. One of the biggest preparations is making sure that they have enough time just to clear their head. There's a lot of sponsor commitments, a lot of media that the players obviously have to do. So as a coach, you got to find the balance between training, your media commitments, and their downtime, because our job's to make sure they're in the best possible headspace, physically, mentally, tactically, when they hit the field for the game. Because that's what we're over there for. We're over there to entertain, to get results for your franchise. So there's a lot that goes into making sure, and there's a lot of meetings that go into making sure that the athletes are peaking at the right time.
You sneak in a night out after a big win?
There's always a night to remember it, good or bad.
Good or bad? You're not going to go into that any further, are you? Not ahead of this IPL. You've got to be a professional outlook.
Mate, there's enough.
How often do things change? Different place to say Australia, obviously. So logistically, things are pretty set in Australia, and we fizz out if a plane's half hour late.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
It's unacceptable.
Yep.
Sack Alan Joyce. He's
Yep.
gone anyway from corners. You know, Joycey out. Joycey tuck up. He stuffed us up again. We're 20 minutes late taking out off out of Sydney. India, different setup over there. Different way of doing things.
You just got to understand where you are. You can't be reactive to what goes on. And there is time as staff. You've got flights are delayed, luggage hasn't arrived on time because they might have had to travel 15 hours on a truck to get you. So the one of the clear things you have with the player, and the players are really good with this, that they understand that these things happen, and they're a lot more sympathetic than just sometimes is when they're playing in national cricket.
Yeah.
So yeah, the players deserve all the credit there.
Is it bang on though with the games? Like the games absolutely start on time and things like that. And DC was in here a couple of weeks ago. He actually told the story of how they hold the games in such regard. They just out the window goes the time limits. Sometimes they'll start a game at midnight if they want to play a T20 game.
They're trying to get a game on. The TV rights and they're too big. You want to get as much cricket as you possibly can. The crowds are packed. It's a huge entertainment business. So yeah, they do a great job of getting things underway. Might not be in the time you want, but they want it to get underway.
Just back to travel. Do you ever share travel with other teams, going from place to place?
Yep. Yeah, that happens. You might have back-to-back games, one at their place and the next one at yours. It probably,
get on okay or much mingling?
No, it probably doesn't happen as much as it did at the start because you travel with such a big crew now. As I said, you've got a digital team, you've got sponsorship, you've got such a big crew, so you take the plane normally.
Fair enough. Come on, give us one celebration story. Like, you know, do they do it opulently or is it just a hotel bar type thing?
Mate, there's always something organised. If you've had a good win, the owners are very generous with their time and they'll put something on most occasions for...
Is that like a happy surprise? They'll come into the dressing room, word gets back, Oh, by the way,
Oh, no, you've always got something on when you get back. You got to feed the players, and there's always something on. Our guys at Punjab were good fun, actually. The Punjabi dancers,
yeah,
they were good fun, our boys.
okay, good stuff. There was nothing like that. That wedding of the son of the billionaire a couple of weeks ago was a 4-day extravaganza. Beyonce came in. Timmy David got an invite to that one. No ridiculous parties like that. It's just just a good time.
I'd imagine if you win it, most franchises would have a good party.
What's the closest you've gone to being part of a winning side?
I was part of KKR.
Mm-hmm.
I was on their books, but I didn't go, and they won it. Maybe that was it. Oh, I won a Champions League.
So you're
Sixers.
So you're sitting here. That doesn't count because it wasn't an IPL team. You beat an IPL team, but
all the way through. Thank you.
All the way through. Thank you. Well done. But so you're sitting here a world away while all that fun's going on over on the other side of the
smart choice.
FOMO? Yeah, no. You're a family man, Bradley. Outstanding.
Smart choice.
We're going to take a little breather on this IPL preview and have a look at some of the players to watch, the standouts or the ones that jump out at Hads ahead of the 2024 IPL. So, Hads, let's get into some players to watch, shall we? Gujarat Titans, established, re-established, whatever you're going to call it, but in their current iteration, they're only 2 years in. This is their third year. They won their debut year. Yep. They made the final last year. So success is expected, I would gather, at this joint. Out of their playing list, who or what jumps out?
There's a couple of things that jump out there. Is Hardik Pandya, the captain of the first couple of years, is no longer there.
He got traded?
Well, he's gone to Mumbai.
Was it a trade, was it? Or was it a see you later, we don't need you anymore?
I think there was some sort of trade, but I don't know how that works. So he's captained. He's got an aggressive mindset, mate, great all-rounder, and they're like golds to get Indian all-rounders. So it's going to be interesting to see how they handle that. New captain in Shuman Gill, and we know the superstar he is. Is it too young to take the captaincy on? Mate, everything that's gone in front of him at the moment, he stood up and done well. A couple of players I'd like to have a look at there is, yes, they got Rashid Khan, and we know he's a superstar of the game. The one I want to keep an eye on is left-arm wrist spinner, Noor Ahmed.
Who we've seen down here.
He played a few games last year and bowled in tandem with Rashid Khan. He's got a lot of tricks, got unbelievable wronging. I expect him to play a bigger role this year. So, yeah, have a look out for that. New captain. And Noor Ahmed.
So their home ground is Ahmedabad.
Yep.
So is he expected to be able to function really well on that deck?
Well, yep, 100%. And I'd expect at times you'd see him and Rashid Khan bowling in tandem.
Okay. Fair enough. So the Titans, they play in Ahmedabad in that 132,000-seater stadium that Australia knows so well from last October, and Travis Head will know pretty well, and he'll be looking forward to get there. And Matty Wade and Spencer Johnson are the two Aussies.
Spencer Johnson's another one.
Yep.
This is the first time he's been to a league of the enormity of an IPL. He'll love it. Big price tag. How he handles that.
Mumbai Indians, as you mentioned earlier, the team that everyone likes to beat. They play at the Wankhede, famous ground, 5 titles, last one in 2020. Hardik Pandya is their new captain, Rohit Sharma, their former captain, India captain, but still in the squad. Timmy David is over there on big dollars. Jason Berendorf is on their list as well from an Australian perspective. But what jumps out here, Hads?
Captaincy. It's simple as that. Rohit Sharma's been captain there with great success. Since Ricky Ponting left there as a player, they got a new leadership this year in Hardik Pandya. It'll be interesting there if things don't start well. What happens there? Because I know Rohit Sharma, great leader, had a lot of success. Hardik Pandya has done a great job as well. So, that's always a different dynamic when you get new captains involved, because they bring different behaviours that they want from their team. That a lot of the stuff that Rohit brought in will stay, but there'll be 5-10% that Hardik Pandya wants to bring in and put his mark on the team.
He's got a bit of swagger, has Hardik.
Good player.
Does he marry up well with the Mumbai Indians reputation?
He's had a lot of success there. It's like the family member coming home. He started his career there, mate. He's a quality all rounder, mate. He plays to to win. He can bowl 140 with the ball, hits the ball out of the park. He's had success, gone away, done great at the Titans to win a comp there. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see with the new captain.
Speaking of winning comps, like Mumbai, Chennai, CSK, they've won 5 of them. Stephen Fleming, their longtime coach as well. He's had great success. We've mentioned MS Dhoni as well. No Ben Stokes for them. However, is there on this list too many Kiwis for your liking, Bradley?
Mate, I tell you what, on this list, that they just find a way.
Yeah.
That they understand their home conditions really well. They're coached really well by Fleming. He's done Stephen Fleming. He's done an outstanding job, and they got the best leader in the country. They got MS Dhoni, who just takes the anxiety out of any close game. He's calm under pressure. That rubs off on his players, and he's never out of. They're never out of the contest because he's there. Whether he's batting at 4, 5, 6, 8, it's his captaincy that keeps them in the comp. They'll be there and thereabouts. They finished second last year with 8 wins. So expect them to be up the top again. A couple of interesting players there. Ravindra, he's had not outstanding World Cup in the 50-over form of the game. He's done well in Test cricket since he started. Hasn't played much 2020 cricket.
Yeah.
So is a role there open for him now that Devon Conway's out? Is it a like-for-like replacement at the top? But the one thing they do better than any other team, they get the best out of their players.
Yeah. With Chennai and Mumbai, is it a New South Wales Queensland type thing? That huge rivalry between where the better and bigger city, and most known around the world.
Yeah. Well, you got the big names. You got Rohit Sharma, who's captain of India. You got MS Dhoni, who's the biggest star in India. So yeah, they'll be there and thereabouts. They're the most consistent team in the whole comp, and they just know how to win. Delhi
Capitals.
Yep.
So as mentioned, they're playing their first 2 away in Vizag because Delhi not ready after the WPL. They've got Davey Warner, they've got Mitch Marsh, and they've got one Ponting as their coach. Anything in particular stand out for you here, Hads?
Well, you can talk about a lot of things here. I'm going to go a different way how I want to look at this. Rashid Pant.
Yep. Haven't seen him in a while.
Mate.
He had an unbelievable tour of Australia a few years ago.
Then he had a horrible car accident.
Yep.
It looked like at one stage he was going to lose limbs. He was lucky to be alive. We've all seen the footage of it. And the word is he's back playing.
Yeah. So how big is this?
I reckon it's the feel-good story of the IPL. This is extraordinary. What he's had to put himself through to get back. I'm just like every other cricket fan. I can't wait. It'll be wherever you are. You'll want to go and watch that first game that he's playing in because the story for him to get back is just a feel-good story for everyone. Everyone's so proud of him. He's a superstar of the game.
Yeah, how much talent's this guy got?
Oh, mate, we've seen it out here in Australia. He destroys attacks. He's a guy opposition when he walks out. You think, oh, what's going to happen here this game? So we can talk about Mitch Marsh, Davey Warner there, Ricky Ponting. But for me, I'm just excited that he's back playing the game. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know how much cricket he's going to play. I know he's past fit. So when he walks on, that's a great feel-good story.
So it wouldn't surprise you in the least that this guy, in one of the games, if not some of the games, century or 40 balls.
That's the sort of player he is. Yeah. And yes, you want to see that from a cricket fan, but for me, it's more than that. It's that he's been able to come back and play the game he's loved. He had some extraordinary injuries. It would have been a really dark rehab at time, but he's back. How good's that?
Well, if he gets back to the very top of his game, hopefully he's not as good as he was last time he came to Australia later this year. And that is purely personal bias talking right there. Rajasthan Royals won the first ever one.
Yeah.
With Warney involved back in 2008.
Looking through their squad, they started unbelievably last year. They got Butler, guys like that, Sampson, who we know's he's got the captaincy. The only thing I would like to see out of them, I want to see a Truman style following Adam Zampa.
Truman Show. Just his every move. Living
Zamp's
in a bubble.
Mate, Zamp's on the move.
What do you reckon it'll look like?
That's what I want to know. Mate, he's a character of the game. He's an outstanding talent on the field.
Yeah.
We can talk him up about he's the most important player in the Australian team, win big moments, great in the World Cups. Nah.
Yeah.
Nah, he's too much of a character. I want a camera on Adam Zampa off the field.
Fair enough.
I reckon it'll be great viewing.
What we do actually want from an Australian perspective is him to have a really good IPL ahead of the T20 World Cup. But again, that's personal bias talking.
Well, he will. He'll be up and about for the T20 World Cup, but we don't want to know that.
Yeah, you want to.
we want to see he's good fun.
You want a Netflix a doco on
mate,
it.
it's a bestseller now. Zamps, let's Adam, you got enough context. Let's get this going because he's one of the true characters of the game.
A to Z with Adam Zampa. There you go. Lucknow Super Giants. Justin Langer is the coach because Andy Flower is headed off to RCB. Marcus Stoinis is here. Shamar Joseph as well. He is brought in. Is it Mark Wood, the one he's replaced?
Yep.
So what jumps here for you? Is it the coaching of JL back in the coaching sphere?
Well, I think that's the story with Lucknow. They've got a good list. They got some couple of Aussies in there. Aston Turner has come back from injury. Got Marcus Stoinis, who we knows this is his best form of the game. But it's good to see Justin Langer back coaching. And from an Australian point of view, I think that's what we're looking at. Whatever's gone before, he's got the passion to get back into the coaching ring, which is good. His record in 2020 with the Perth Scorchers is absolutely first class. So it's his first taste of IPL cricket. I think he's got Adam Voges, who took over him in the West. He's continued that success. So, yeah, the story for me is it's good to see JL back doing what he loves.
RCB, Royal Challengers Bangalore. So for a very long time, obviously, it's Virat's team. Geez, there's some big names here. Some big characters. You got Faf, you got Maxi, you got Cameron Green, who, he's just a big human. He's not so much a big character, but he's a big human. Is he the one for you in this squad?
Well, RCB have been there and thereabouts for some time, and you've had Kohli there, and he wants success. He wants to win titles. He's been open with that. You got Faf du Plessis, who's he's been great in this form of the game since he's retired from international cricket. To be able to hold his form for as long as he has, it has been a credit to him. They brought Cameron Green in, which is a great signing. He can cover a lot of different positions there and gives your team that balance where you can use him as an opening bowler and you can massage the way you use your quicks because he can play that role. He can bat 1, 2, or 3. We've seen him do well at power at the end. So the RCB would be going in, new coach, Flower. He demands success and he's a winner. Virat Kohli we haven't seen for some time, so he's fresh and ready to go. So to me, they've got some huge names, and they always have. It's their players who aren't as big have to play a role.
Okay.
And that's going to be the interesting thing to me. I think they've got good squad depth now. They've got Will Jacks. Tom Curran, I think, will play a role and could play a really handy role with his change of pace at their venue in Bangalore. So they'll come in the tournament like everyone that, we're here to win it.
With Virat, so we've seen him, make statements as India captain, as the big player for India, both with or without the captaincy. What's he like in the IPL with Bangalore?
Mate,
Does he play that role?
Yeah, he's had some extraordinary seasons. It's interesting. I haven't seen who captains yet. Virat gave up the captaincy last year. Faf du Plessis took over. He's a good tactician, good leader. To me, I like Virat when he's captain. He just seems to me everyone lifts a cog. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to see where they go with that. I haven't seen what's going to happen there yet, but whether Virat's whether he's coming back and he's got the appetite to do that. They got options though.
Is it like when India play white ball cricket, we saw at the World Cup? So when the batter before Kohli gets out, the whole crowd starts yelling out Kohli or Virat.
Oh, well, they're lucky.
Is it the same in Bangalore?
Oh, yeah. He's a star everywhere, mate. Yep, they go
batshit
nuts.
crazy for him.
Yeah, everywhere he goes, and you're lucky. He spent a lot of time opening in IPL. So
Well, they got 10 minutes of it in the change of innings, do they?
Well, you don't have to worry about when he comes in at 3 being the opener that everyone wants to nick off so he can come out to bat.
Fair enough. KKR, Kolkata Knight Riders. This squad, they've been there or thereabouts. 7th last year, though, which no good. I mean, 10 years ago, they were the team to beat. And they brought in one Mitchell Stark on a handy little pay packet. What do you reckon here, Hads? How much pressure on Mitch?
Well, Mitch hasn't been there for some time. He's gone there for a real clear reason, to get wickets.
I was going to say for money.
Yeah. Well, yeah, mate. Mate, he can play so many different roles. He's the best bowler in the world in this form of the game. He can get wickets up the front if it swings. We know he's as good as anyone at executing his death bowling. Mate, they got the best in the business. So to me, the story there is about how well he goes.
Sunrisers Hyderabad. So Dan Vettori, who's involved in Australian cricket these days, he's the coach. They won in 2016, and they've got some pretty big name Australians here with Trav Head, who timing is everything. The auction wasn't far off after the World Cup, and Pat Cummins, who has bounced around a bit, but he finds himself at Sunrisers with a pretty important role, Hads.
Interesting. Sunrisers, for a number of reasons. They had 4 coaches in 4 years, 4 different captains. A new captain again now. Paddy takes over. Dan Vettori, who's been assistant coach for the Australian teams, come in and said, "No, I want Paddy to captain." So, yeah, they got the talent. They got a really good squad. They got one of the best 2020 players I think in the world in Clarkson. I think he's as good a middle order player in 2020 as there is at the moment. So. Pat's, mate, we've seen how good his leadership is. It's all been a tick. He just hasn't captained any 2020.
Does it change as a captain of an IPL?
I think it does.
I
think it does. I think, first and foremost, he hasn't captained any 2020 cricket. Everything he's done tactically has been good with the Australian team. We've seen how well they're going. He's got a great working relationship with Dan Vettori, which will help. The story for them is 4 coaches, 4 captains. Is this the answer? Have they found their mix?
No pressure, Dan and Pat.
Yeah. Good luck.
Now, speaking of coaching hats, you're on the coaching staff with Trevor Bayliss at Punjab Kings. When are you blokes going to win one?
Oh, I think it's about time now. I think, we had a couple of injuries last year. Johnny Bairstow, who's dominant for us at the top of the order.
Yep.
He comes in. We've got Nathan Ellis. Last year, he probably started as not one of our main bowlers, but was picked in most of the games to start with because just on sheer performance. So, yeah, we've got a squad now that we had some young guys that made a lot of noise last year. We Jitesh Sharma, Prab Singh. They're a year older. They'll have more responsibility. Shikhar Dhawan as captain. He's one of the most successful IPL batters in the history. So we need to make sure the guys are playing well around him so he can play his role. But with Johnny Bairstow, Liam Livingston comes in. He's been outstanding in IPL. His power. Sam Curran, we know how good he can be in 2020 cricket. So, but what we have done is built some squad depth. We got some young kids. We wanted to give a taste of what it's like to be in that environment. So, yeah, we just got to work out who plays us in the final.
You've also got to work out when you bring up Lords with Johnny. But, yeah, wait and see. As we've said previously, we'll let the other 3 Englishmen in the room that you've got on that squad bring it up for you, and then you can just move on with life. So looking forward to it. But, mate, it's an extraordinary time every year in cricket, the IPL. It's noticed around the world, but I just can't. One thing I'll leave it with this. I can't get my head around how big an event it is each and every night on television over there as well, about how hyped these games are. And it's a great television product. It's great competition as well. It's only getting bigger.
Well, the closest thing you get is the Pakistan-Indian game, as I said, at the 2020 World Cup.
Or a state of origin type thing.
Well, it's
almost every night.
It's bigger.
Yeah.
It's the whole country. It's not just the eastern states. It's the whole country.
Well, tell you what isn't bigger after the IPL. It's you, because you get into the gym and just rip in, don't you? So you'll come back
wait.
5 kilos lighter.
I'm going for 8. I'm going for 8.
Going for 8. Well, we'll check in with that, Hads. Have a great trip, mate.
Thank
Good
you.
luck to your Punjab side, and look forward to watching it all.
And I can't wait to get back to have a chat with you, with the audience, about some questions for Adam Peacock.
Well, we'll see at that. Bring back a trucker hat for me from over there. And we'll
Keep
talk.
sending them in. I'm enjoying the trucker caps.
That was Willow Talk IPL edition. Yeah, thanks for watching the Willow Talk podcast on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't have to miss an episode wherever you are. And while you're at it, check out these videos up here. They're mostly good.